In today's video, we are going to do the maths. I have always advised people before you go and buy your vehicle on loan, either by various forms of financing, whether you are being financed by the bank, by the SACCO, by the non-deposit taking microfinances, or whoever, any form of arrangement, you have to do the maths before you buy a car on loan. And I'm going to give you an example of how your financing plan and the importance of doing the math can save you or put you into trouble. So 2 weeks ago, I visited a showroom along Kiambu Road. And this showroom has all varieties of vehicles that you can imagine. But I inquired about two vehicles, and they gave me some two informations that is very, very critical for you, especially if you are looking to buy a big vehicle for personal use or a small vehicle for business use, because their mode of financing is completely different, and it costs, let me tell you, an arm and a leg, especially if you go for the most affordable form of financing. If someone shows you that it is extremely cheap for you to get financing, then let me tell you, you will pay for it very, very expensively. So these guys, they had a Forester, a Subaru Forester, and we are going to do the math for their financing plan for Subaru Forester, and also for it was a Nissan March. Okay, so they had plans for financing this, and they told me that for any big vehicle, the case for Subaru would represent their mode of financing, and for any other small vehicle, the mode for financing Nissan March would represent how they would finance any other small vehicle for business use. Okay, because these small vehicles, they are so much used for business, while this Subaru most probably will be for private use. So let us start with the case of Subaru. So if you walk into that showroom, they had this very nice Subaru Forester SK9. I think it's 2500 cc, very nice looking, and they were selling it on cash at 3.4 million. Okay, if you have your money, you give them, they give you the vehicle, you do the transfers, and business done, case closed. But if you don't have the 3.4, they were saying that you can deposit 500K as the minimum deposit, and then you complete the rest of the payment within 48 months. Okay, 48 months at an installment rate of 87,000 per month. Okay, so when I do the math, I realize that if you do 48 months and every month you are paying around 87,000, you will have paid them around 4.1 M. Okay, so 4.1 M, if you add the initial deposit, that vehicle, you will have bought it at around 4.6 million. So the total cost of borrowing will be around 3.4 minus 4.6, or the other way around. So you will have paid an extra 1.2 million for borrowing that vehicle for a period of 48 months. So 48 months is literally 4 years. So for me, that is not very expensive. Okay, and we are going to do this analysis and try to compare why this kind of borrowing or selling vehicles on loan for privately used, especially SUV, is not very expensive as compared to the case whereby we are going to see a small vehicle being used for business. So make sure that you watch this video until the end so that you can benefit from the reasoning behind that. The reasoning behind why small vehicles are the most expensive if you are buying them on loan, especially from the showrooms, because showrooms are not accredited financial institutions, so they make their own terms, and you either agree to their terms or you don't agree, but you can take them nowhere for saying that that is the arrangement they are giving to you. So the second scenario is with regard to, I have said, is a Nissan March, a vehicle of 2018 model. And for the cash buyers, they were selling it at 950k cash. And then for Lipa Pole Pole, so this is what they call it. I don't know whether there is a financial product or a finance product in our money ecosystem that is known as Lipa Pole Pole. We know there are so many bank solutions or financial solutions, but Lipa Pole Pole, I am not sure if it is a known term in terms of the financial solutions that we have in our financial institutions. So if you Lipa Pole Pole, they were saying you deposit 20,000 only, okay, and then the remaining balance you also pay within 48 months, okay, at a rate of 1,500 shillings per day. Because these people, they have understood that most of the borrowers of these small vehicles are going to use it for Uber, for taxi businesses, and the owners of these vehicles will have an opportunity to make daily income. And that is what these kayaks are, are trying to take advantage of. So once you pay them 1,500 per day, so literally, we are saying that here it's 1,500 times 365 times 4. And this one will be around 2.2 million. So 1,500 per day, 365 days in a year, and then you are paying back in a period of 4 years. So 2.2 million is the amount of money that you will pay to the same lender who has given a loan to a guy buying a Subaru Forester and another guy buying a very, very small vehicle, a Nissan March, that is almost 3 times cheaper than Subaru, okay, because Subaru is being sold at 3.4 million. This one is being sold at less than a million, so it is actually 3 times cheaper than Subaru. But the Nissan March guy is paying 2 times more expensive than the Subaru guy. Why is it so? Let me try to clean my board here so that we can try to make some reasonings behind why these showrooms are behaving the way they are behaving, and why these small vehicles are the most expensive to borrow on loan. First of all, we need to appreciate the fact that banks, we said that these commercial banks will not give you loan for these small vehicles. So forget even about the rest. So here we are talking of Nissan March, we are talking of Alto, we are talking of anything that is being used for Uber. You will never get a bank that will finance you for this. So that is an admission of one fact, that these kind of vehicles are exposed to very high risk, because they are always on the road doing over 60,000 kilometers per annum, and every day driving over 250 kilometers every day. And don't forget that these are very small vehicles, some of 650 cc's. So this kind of vehicle, if you put it into Uber business, you are almost sure that the ground clearance is very low, so that vehicle is subject to accidents. The risk of overloading is also very high, because 650cc literally should carry only 2 people, but you'll find that Uber drivers, they will carry the maximum of passengers that show up, as long as you can add them a small amount on top of what the app is showing. So at the end of the day, you will find that this vehicle will hardly survive for the 4 years without troubles. And that's why banks will stay away from this kind of things. While on the other hand, if you are the bank is lending money to someone buying a Subaru, a Prado, or anything, you can rest guaranteed that that vehicle is not at very high risk, because it is, it's already very powerful to say that you are overloading it or overworking it. And then these bigger vehicles, people have tendency of taking good care of them, so banks don't worry so much about carrying some risk towards those bigger assets than these other ones. So, and it is the same kind of approach that the showrooms are also using, because they are saying, if I lend you my Forester, of course I know you will take good care of it, and probably someone who can raise what we said 87k per month is probably as someone who is employed, so they are able to furnish some good financial records, and by so doing, their their risk becomes a bit less as compared to someone coming to buy this vehicle. Probably they are defaulters with with maybe mobile money lenders or other forms of lenders, and again you'll find that someone who is raising only 20k deposit, 20,000 deposit to buy a Nissan March, it's a person who has maybe no formal employment or no formal type of income generation activity, and it's a very high risk individual who can, flee. If this individual runs away or stops working, it means that the yard might lose their vehicle. So to cover that risk related to the individual, they have to ask for quite a lot of money, in a way that even if you part ways a few months after the deal was signed, the bank, no, the bank or the showroom will not have much to lose. But my biggest advice to anyone going out there to buy a vehicle on loan, make sure you raise at least, let me write it down, make sure that you raise at least 70% of the cost of buying that vehicle. Okay? Don't allow anyone to finance you what they are calling 100% financing, 110% financing. Don't allow anyone to finance you beyond 30%. Okay? Go look for that money. I don't know where you will look for it. I don't know what you will do to make sure that you get your 70% towards your vehicle purchasing process, and only focus on borrowing 30%, because the smaller the deposit, okay, the bigger the interest. So you will pay, as I mentioned, with your arms and with your leg if your deposit is small. But if your deposit is high, it is quite a lot, it is over 70%, then the cost of that borrowing will not be a burden to you. So it is called delayed gratification. Continue saving. Okay, you will waste time when you are saving. Okay, but if you don't save and you rush to take loan, then you will lose money. Okay, you will say that you are not wasting time, but you will waste money. But on this other hand, if you decide to save and delay your purchase, you will lose time, but you will save yourself a lot of money, a lot of it, not compared to how much time you have lost. And on this other hand, if you decide to save time and borrow money immediately before you save, the amount of money you will lose by paying back your interest will be too much compared to the amount of time you are rushing to save. Think about it.